What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Primetime Sports Podcast, hosted by Joey Malari. So tonight is the 155th Belmont Stakes. I have Paul from Southie, Paul, the sports encyclopedia and sports wizard here, to talk about the Belmont Stakes, give his picks and his predictions. How are we doing today, Paul?
Good, Joe. How you doing today?
Doing well. Thank you for coming on. Always a pleasure having the time and talking sports with you. It's always great, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of fun.
It's always a pleasure you taking the time, so thank you. So we'll start off talking about the Belmont Stakes, and maybe talk a minute about the Sox. So today, as I said, Belmont Stakes, 155th Belmont Stakes race will be tonight. 1.5-mile run, dirt surface, 9 horses, and the record for it is 2 minutes and 24 seconds, set by Secretariat in 1973. 9 horses, I'll give you their names and their post position numbers. So number 1 is Tappet Shoes, number 2 is Tappet Trice. Tappet Shoes, 20-1 odds, Tappet Trice is 3-1 odds. Number 3 is Archangelo, 8-1 odds. Number 4 is National Treasure, 5-1 odds. Number 5 is Il Miracolo. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Miracolo, there you go. 30-1 odds. Number 6 is Forte, 5-2 odds. Number 7 is Hit Show, 10-1 odds. Number 8 is Angel of Empire, 7-2 odds. And number 9 is Red Route 1, 15-1 odds. A red route or red route? I guess it depends on the way people say it. But
what part of the country you're from?
I'll say route. That's, it's just a football way to say it, route or route. Yeah, route's probably a better way to say it. I'll say Red Route 1. But who do you have winning this race? Maybe give some thoughts of, jockeys, trainers, owners, whatever you want to do.
Well, I think the 6, who's been off for 2 months, Forte, he's probably the best horse in the race based on ability. He's got a top jockey, Irad Ortiz Jr., and I believe he's probably one of Todd Pletcher's several entries. And Pletcher, the trainer, has won this race, I think, 5 times. So it's shaping up to be a Forte race. The only drawback against him would be that he had 2 months off and coming off an injury prior to the Kentucky Derby, or he was sick or something. He had to sit out the Preakness as well. But based on his numbers, he's the best horse. I'm pulling for him to win. I think the other chalk will probably come through with Tappet, Trice.
Yep.
And I think Angel of Empire ran a pretty good Derby race with, I think, 20 horses in that race, and he came up for third. If you want to try to make some money, probably put on your at the end of the ticket, you probably got to give Hit Show and Archangelo a chance, because I think they're going to be double digits to 1, maybe around 10-1.
That's what Hit Show is right now, 10-1. And I do like Hit Show. I have Hit Show actually winning this race.
I think Hit Show is a worthy long shot. I think Manny Franco, the jockey, has won this race maybe a couple of years ago. So I always like a jockey who's won a race, especially like this, since it's 1.5 miles, which is the furthest the horses will run. Archangelo has a good note about him, is that he won on this course just May 13th. So he's familiar with the track, the dirt. I think that might give him a slight edge, so he might be worthy, maybe around 8-1 to show up on your ticket. But I think the 6-2-8 are the favorites for a good reason. Throw in the 3 and 7, and that will round up my tickets. The only one I'm leaving out I'm worried about would be National Treasure, who's coming off a very big Preakness win. Solid jockey in Johnny Velasquez. I'm just concerned about he's probably going to have an early, he likes to go early. I just don't think he's going to be able to hold it. Coming off only a 3-week break since the Preakness.
So there's his picks there. Obviously, like you said, Forte's probably the best overall horse, but hasn't ran in a while. Obviously, had a field drug test as well. They got Pletcher suspended at one point, right? It was for the Preakness? I believe it was.
I can't remember.
I believe it was the Preakness. Let me see here. Preakness, Forte, suspension. But like you said, now he's back running. Obviously, that's a big ad there in the race. Yeah, Pletcher was suspended for Forte's positive drug test. At one point. So that was for the Preakness, I believe. Yeah. So the Preakness, a 10-day suspension there. So that's the reason he was out of the Preakness, I guess. But we'll see what happens, obviously, in this race tonight. First time running in a while. Obviously, like you said, regardless of suspension or not, it is his first time competing. I do like the 7-win Hit Show. Obviously, probably the best long shot. The biggest long shot, I guess, is Il Miracolo, 30-1, and Tappet Shoes is 20-1. And then next up is Red Route 1, 15-1 odds, and then you have Hit Show at 10-1. So Hit Show is my favorite of the long shots. I'm going to go 7-8 as my trifecta. I got Hit Show winning. I have Tappet Trice in second, and I have Angel Empire in third.
Angel of Empire is a solid horse. Again, ran a very good Kentucky Derby, coming from way back, like 16th on the backstretch to finish third. One also significant point is beside the jockey that has won this race before, I like the fact that some trainers can figure this out because this is the test of champions. Um,
Yeah,
again, it's a mile and a half race.
long
It's
race, right?
the longest the horses will ever race.
Definitely.
It's worth it to put Hit Show. Maybe he could steal this race. Um, I'm going to stick with Forte and Tappet. Tappet's got
Tap
at
it twice.
least he Tappet the whatever you call it, he's the father of a lot of these horses that have won the Belmont.
Yeah.
I think he sired like half of the last 10 winners. So Tappet Trice and Tappet Shoes, both coming off the Tappet bloodline, have an edge. Tappet Trice, the one who I'm going to leave out, is no slouch. Could certainly make the ticket. I don't see him as a win contender, but he could certainly make the ticket. But I'm not going to bet the field here when there's so much strength in this race. But anybody from the Tappet bloodline is worthy in this race because Tappet has sired several Belmont winners in the last few years.
So there you have it. There's the Sports Wizards thoughts and predictions here on tonight's Belmont race. Now move on just a minute or two about the Sox. Sox had a big win last night, a big Friday night win over the New York Yankees, winning that game 3-2. Rafael Devers finally broke out of his slump, was 2 for 4 in that game with 2 runs scored, a home run and a double. Those 2 hits coming against Garrett Cole, his 7th home run now in his career against Garrett Cole, which is huge. Cole went 6 innings, 7 hits allowed, 2 earned runs with 6 strikeouts and a walk, 101 total pitches. Garrett Whitlock on the mound for the Sox, 6th and 3rd innings, giving up 7 hits, 1 earned run, 2 runs overall with 6 strikeouts and 1 walk, 88 pitches. Nick Pivetta came out of the bullpen for the Sox, got 2 outs in a big situation, only took 4 pitches, got out of it, and then Chris Martin came in relief, went 1 inning, scoreless, and then Kenley Jansen got the save for the Sox, 1 inning pitch, giving up 2 hits, getting a strikeout, and picking up a save there, which is huge. Alex Verdugo was 2 for 5 in the game. Tristan Casas had some big hits, 2 for 3 with 2 hits coming against Garrett Cole, and then Kike Hernandez continues to rake against Garrett Cole, hit a home run last night as well. Big things there for the Sox. Obviously, now tonight, it'll be Tanner Houck on the mound versus Domingo Germán. Germán, 3.69 ERA in 61 innings. As for Tanner Houck, 3-5 record with a 5.46 ERA in 57 2/3 innings pitched. Hopefully, Houck can get back to the stuff that we know he has. Obviously, he's done it in flashes, but we need to do it consistently, especially with Chris Sale's injury. And obviously the Corey Kluber situation didn't work out. Nick Pavetta's now in the bullpen. The Sox need someone to step up. What do you think has to happen tonight for the Sox against Domingo Germán in the New York Yankees? The Yankees, who are without Aaron Judge, that's one thing to note.
Well, that helps the Red Sox as it did last night. You like to continue the momentum. That was a huge win for a team that's, if they're lucky, playing 500 ball in the last few weeks. Having Adam Duvall back in the lineup.
That was huge, obviously, yeah.
It was huge, even though he probably didn't do much with his bat. But he's got that home run power. I want to continue the great outing that Whitlock had. Tremendous outing. I mean, they barely touched him. So I expect Houck. I know he has great stuff, just like Whitlock. For some reason, Houck, I think he starts off really well, but the second and third time through the lineup, I think the batters seem to figure him out. So I think the most important point is for Houck to get off to a good start and maintain that through the middle innings. And hopefully the bats can wake up a little bit more. Hitting Garrett Cole, giving him his first loss in 7 decisions was huge.
7 wins and now 1 loss.
Yeah, now 1 loss. So I'm hoping the Red Sox, wake up a few bats. Good to see Kike hit a bomb, a tremendous home run last night.
Tristan Casas played well too.
Casas got his average up over 200. So the bats do need to come alive a little more. I think Verdugo had a couple hits last night.
He
so
did 2 for 5, yep.
Let's continue, with getting the bats alive again.
Definitely. And like you said in there, obviously, Adam Duvall being back in the lineup is huge. He was 0 for 3 last night, but seeing him back in center field is obviously a plus. Very good defensively as well. Probably takes some innings, I should say, away from Jarren Duran, which is tough, but maybe Duran will be back in the lineup tonight. We'll see. But that was a good thing for the Sox, though, getting a win there last night. Justin Turner actually played very well as well. Had a couple hits. I believe he was 2 for 4 in the game, getting his batting average up to 260. And then you had, like you said, Alex Verdugo getting 2 hits, putting his batting average up to 288. So big win there for the Sox. And like you said, giving Garrett Cole his first loss of the season. He's now 7-1, 7 wins and 1 loss. Obviously, big one there for the Sox. And for Tanner Houck, he's only gone over 6 innings, 3 starts in 11 this year. So hopefully he gets over that tonight and finds a way to go into the 6th or 7th inning. That'd obviously be huge there for the Sox. But we'll see what happens there. And then one last thing I want to mention is obviously tonight is Game 4 of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. 2-1 now. Florida had a big overtime win, increasing their win total in overtime to 7 wins now in the postseason. They're 7-0 in overtime games. Somehow found a way to win that last game in Florida. Tonight is Game 4 in Florida. What do you think happens tonight? Does Vegas give it a 3-1 lead, or do they lose this game and it's evened up 2-2 with Florida getting the win?
Boy, that's a great question. I know that Vegas is the more talented team, but the Panthers are just that kind of team that they're like a bug you can't squash. I mean, 7-0 in overtime games.
They trailed in that game 2-1 too after 2 periods.
What an incredible record. If I had to play the game, I'd probably say the Panthers will tie the series up. I'm pulling for Vegas. I like Bruce Cassidy. He didn't fit here as well towards the end of his run, but I think that eventually the talent will come and Vegas wins this series, but it might take 6 or 7. So I would say the Panthers are going to keep the momentum going and tie this series up at 2.
Well, like you said, obviously the talent level, obviously Vegas has a much better team overall. If you look at Vegas in the first 2 games, they won 5-2 and 7-2, so a combined score there 12-4 in the first 2 games. They were even up 2-1 in that game in Game 3. Somehow, though, as Florida always does, they just find a way to win. Scored a goal in the 3rd period. Matthew Tkachuk, his 11th in the postseason, and then Carter Verhaeghe had a goal in overtime to win the game there for the Panthers, his 7th goal in the postseason with an assist from our boy Sam Bennett. One thing you want to add in? It was about the Panthers and Knights.
The series so far reminds me of unfortunately the Bruins and Vancouver series. When the Bruins won the games, what series am I thinking? Oh, the Blues. Unfortunately, the Bruins and the Blues. When the Bruins won the games, they won like 7-2, 5-2. When the Blues won, it was a 1-goal game.
All the close ones.
So the Panthers, if they stay alive, boy, how could you bet against them in any kind of elimination game?
And they've played great. They find ways to win. Obviously, beating the Bruins, that was a feat already, and nobody really thought they'd continue this run. And look at them now; they're in the Stanley Cup Finals. It's 2-1 series with Game 4 at home there in Florida. So we'll see what happens. Now here is the Sox lineup. I wanted to give you that really quick. Verdugo on right, Yoshida on left, Turner DHing, Devis at third, Duvall in center, Casas at first, Arroyo at second, Maguire catching, and Kike at short with Tanner Houck on the mound. So yet again, another game without Jarren Duran in the lineup, which is tough. But we'll see what happens in the Sox game tonight. Like you said, though, for that Knights series, I think the Knights are the better team. I would have had the Knights winning in 6 games in my prediction if I got to record one before the series began. I'll probably stay with the Knights winning in 6. I think the Knights win tonight in Florida, and then I'll have Florida winning Game 5 in Vegas, and then Game 6 I'll give to the Knights in Florida. So I have them each alternating wins there, away, and home there. So I have Vegas winning tonight in Florida, then I have Florida winning in Vegas, then I have Vegas winning in Florida. I'll go Vegas in 6 games. What do you like as a series prediction? Obviously, it's 2-1 now. What do you like for series outcome, numbers-wise?
I am going to say that Vegas will figure out how to beat this team when it matters, and they're going to wrap it up in 6 games.
Okay, I'm with you there. And then as for the other series, Miami Heat, now Denver Nuggets, 3-1. Obviously, Denver getting that big win last night. Probably it there for Miami. But as Jimmy Butler always does, he finds a way to motivate the team. And he said, we just got to win 3 games in a row. It all stopped with 1 game. That's just the main thing the main thing that you need to have is an attitude when you're down to series. You need 1 win at a time. It's the only way you can really get 3 wins is if you get that first one first. So if Jimmy and the Heat can find a way to win Game 5 in Denver and go back to Miami in Game 6, that would also be huge. But I think Denver wins this series in 5 games. I think they wrap it up in Denver in Game 5. What do you think as a prediction, obviously, for Game 5 in Denver?
I would agree. I mean, I think Denver could have taken this team out anytime they wanted. They get big leads early in like the second quarter. They're up by 15 points. They let Miami steal 1 game. But Denver's clearly a better team. Miami can't keep up with them on the boards. And Denver's just got too many weapons. Of course, they got the Joker in the middle who... Even if he doesn't score 20, if he scores 20 points, he gets 10 assists anyway. I mean,
23, 12, and 4 last night with 3 blocks and 3 steals.
Amazing talent. Murray's, they can't stop him. I think Denver's clearly a better team and should wrap it up in Game 5.
They can beat you in a million ways, Denver. If you look at it, last night was not the best night for Jamal Murray shooting. 5 of 17 from the floor, 2 of 3 from 3. Had 15 points, 3 rebounds, 12 assists, and a steal. And the Joker didn't have as good of a night offensively in points like he typically does. Only 23 points there last night, 8 of 19 from the floor, 3 of 7 from 3. Michael Porter Jr. didn't do much on offense, 0 of 3 from 3, 4 of 10 from the floor for 11 points and 3 rebounds. But the Nuggets beat them with Aaron Gordon getting 27.7 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal. 11 of 15 from the floor and 3 of 4 from 3 for Aaron Gordon. And then Bruce Brown off the bench, a Boston native, former Miami basketball player, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a block, and a steal off the bench. 3 of 5 from 3 and 8 of 11 from the floor. They find ways to beat you, Denver. They find ways to beat you in many different ways.
They got a lot of guys, yeah. I mean, Aaron Gordon, that was probably his high for the season, 27 points. What did he get?
I think it was his high for the season.
I mean,
27 points. Aaron
probably
Gordon.
didn't average 15 points a game, and he comes out of nowhere last night.
Right around 15.
They got a lot of weapons.
Right around 15.
They control the boards. They don't turn the ball over much. They can't stop Murray. Denver's easy in this series.
I would agree with you there. And obviously, Miami, they find ways to scrap and find ways to win. But as of now, it looks like it's all Denver. And that was a playoff career high for Aaron Gordon, like you said. So 27 points there for Aaron Gordon. As for Miami, they didn't really get as much from Jimmy Butler as they need. Only 27 points from Butler, 1 for 3 from 3, 9 to 17 on the floor, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and a block. They need 35 points if they want to win a game against Denver with Jimmy Butler. They need 35 from Jimmy, 20 points from Bam Adebayo. Max Strus struggled, 0 for 4 from the floor, 0 for 3 from 3 with no points and 5 rebounds. Gabe Vincent only 2 points, 1 of 6 from the floor and 0 for 4 from 3. And then another role player for Miami, Caleb Martin, had 11 points, 5 of 12 from the floor, 5 rebounds. Bam Adebayo had another good night, 20 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and a block, 8 and 19 from the floor, but wasn't enough as Denver beats Miami 108 to 95, 13-point win there for Denver. Now going back to Denver with a 3-1 lead, 8:30 Monday night is Game 5. So we'll see what happens. Maybe Denver will close it out. But anyways, that will conclude this episode. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to this. Thank you so much to Paul, the Sports Wizard, for coming on. Much appreciated, Paul.
Joe, always a pleasure. We'll do it again soon.
Thank you. Have a good one. Take it easy, guys. Stay safe and stay well. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you.